Welcome to Martini Time. I'll ask my frog to dive down in the pond and come up with a golden ball of insight or story. And yesterday I was talking about my first yoga teacher slash guru who put her foot on my neck in the sense of discipline, and it's kind of like what my mother used to do when a dog pooped on the floor, is hold the dog's nose to the poop and throw the dog out. But kind of like holding your nose down to the discipline, you know, and putting your foot on your neck and discipline this wild ego Western mind that can't sit still and wanders all over the place and can't focus. So basically that yoga teacher, that the Light of Yoga Society that I got involved in early 70s was like boot camp. She was a what do you call the guy that runs the boot camp? The drill sergeant. That was her role. I mean, these Western American young people were starved for discipline. And also, I was introduced to the whole pantheon of the Hindu gods and the magnificent philosophy of this ancient philosophy of yoga, which was non-dual. Western materialism is all dualistic. It's this and that, yes and no, up and down, pain and pleasure. Everything comes in pairs, like on Noah's Ark. You know, everything comes in twos. But where is the one? Where is the one that has no second? You know, where is unity with the one? This was what the heart starves for. And so this yoga offered the promise of that. And I bit it like a bass on a worm. I mean, it was a total, and that's what it takes. It takes a total diving in, just like in the life of Pi, where Pi dove totally into the different religions before he realized they were limiting, and then he dove into rationalism and philosophy and found that to be limiting. And that's when he began his voyage and learned how to how to live with the tiger of life that wanted to eat him. You see, life will eat you if you can't ride it. Life is a tiger. In India, all the gods ride tigers. Why is that? You see, when you awaken the tiger, if you have no discipline, if your ego has not been tamed, you're going to think the tiger's energy is yours, and the tiger will eat you. It'll throw you off and devour you. Or people end up running around thinking they're God, or they end up in an insane asylum or wherever. You know? So the tiger's real. And so see, Western society puts the tiger in technology. Western society puts the technology in industry, the Industrial Revolution, the technology. It's external. And they put it into machines. And these machines change the world. But as individuals, we're empty. As individuals, we've lost our power. We depend on machines. We depend on technology. It's our own energy externalized in the West, so it's inside out. India and these ancient cultures of the East went inward, and the power was found within, so they didn't do anything on the outside. There was no technology. There was no plumbing, you know. All of it was inward. So they had great, powerful yogis and saints had developed this tremendous power within, you know. And my first encounter with that was reading the autobiography of a yogi by Paramahansa Yogananda in the mid-60s. And this was an autobiography of an Indian yogi who was a master, and he came to this country. And he reported about all the saints and all these yogis who had did all these fantastic miracles that even would make Jesus embarrassed. That all, there was nothing, there was no big deal. So that, this was a door that opened like for those of us who were dissatisfied with what the Western culture offered us, which was Sunday, God on Sunday, and pleasure during the week, and a mind that was always choosing this or that. Should I go here or go there? Everything was divided. It's called the discriminating mind. The discriminating mind is the mind that makes stuff. It's rational, logical, but it can't find the one because it divides everything into two, this or that. You see, if you have this was a little statue of Ganesh. See, yeah. When I went to Bombay, I bought that down in the market in Bombay. It's sandalwood. It's on both sides. And when I got into this, when I jumped into this Indian Hindu yoga that was transplanted in the West, we were introduced to all these Hindu gods. And it was great. It was kind of like being a Catholic without having to be a Catholic. You could pick your own God. And when you got a mantra, it usually was connected with some Hindu deity. Mine was connected with Rama. So I had pictures of Rama and Sita all over my walls, So it was, the Hindu gods were metaphors. And I equate it to a teddy bear. The child loves the teddy bear. He hugs this teddy bear. The teddy bear awakens his love. The teddy bear awakens his heart. And he just loves his teddy bear. But he knows it's not a real bear. So the teddy bear is kind of like a transitional metaphor or means in which the heart can connect to the one, to the unity of love. Love is the unity. So when the heart connects to love, it connects to the whole cosmos. It connects to God, you see. But you need a mediator. So a teddy bear is a mediator. But it's not a real bear. So the same way with the Hindu gods. It was like going to a movie. When you go to a movie, you suspend disbelief and you enter into the movie as if it's real. But there's something awakened, it's not real. So the movie doesn't work unless you can suspend your discriminating mind that's sitting there saying, well, that isn't real. We have a friend who, when we watch the movie, she criticizes the movie because well, I wouldn't have done that. Or why did they do that? I wouldn't have done that. That's silly. Why did they do that? She hasn't suspended her discrimination, you see. So the Hindu gods and the guru. Now the guru was like a god in person. But then again, you knew the guru wasn't God. Some did. But the point was that you entered into it wholeheartedly with the heart, body, mind, and soul. Because if you don't do that, you're pulling back. You got a little insurance. You got your arms crossed. You say, I'll just stick my foot in, but I won't stick both feet in. Well, you can't train or subdue the ego and the discriminating mind of the West unless you surrender it. So you need to have a safe place to surrender. And I think that's what it was. It was a safe place to surrender. and just give it all up. You know, there's not many safe places to do that. And you have to be careful when you do that, because you might surrender to a Trump or some faker or something, you know. So there's a lot of risk in that. But for me, it was a safe place. And so it was the first time in my life that I was able to just surrender the whole catastrophe and say, your voice is my voice. Tell me what to do, teacher. You know, I will obey. Just tell me what to do to get through this hell, to get to the other shore, you see. So that, you know, and like I said, that's a risky proposition. And the other thing, too, is that when you get, these like the yoga and all that, these are like ferries. It's not the promised land. It's not the end of the road. It's a ferry boat. Just like religion is a ferry boat. It's taking you somewhere to the other shore. But you have to get off the ferry boat at some time. Many people stay on the ferry boat, and the ferry boat never lets you off. It just goes around and around in the safe harbor. And you never get off. And you become dependent upon the ferry boat. And that's usually what happens with religion. You can't get out. Once you get into the religion, you can't doubt anything, everything. You can't get out of it, you see. So it's kind of like a ferry boat that's fighting other ferry boats. But if you're looking for the one, if you're looking for the unity that your heart longs for, there is no other. You're not in a group that's competing with other groups to be the one. So that this is a period on the path. It's like a womb that you have to go into in order to be born out of it. So there's so many people that become dissatisfied with, they go into religion, many people are satisfied, they should, fine, that's great, stay there. But if people become dissatisfied, it's very difficult, because there's a sense of loyalty and guilt, and then there's, I don't know what, you know, this has held me together, what'll I be on the outside if I leave, you know, so people are going through this all the time, getting involved. So it's the same with the yoga and all the gurus and the gods and everything. So I can look back on it almost like this was, with me, it was a past life. And I laugh because I spent the 70s on this passage. 1970, I began the practice with yoga and the guru, and then I left that light of yoga, left that, it kind of fell apart, and I got into Siddha Yoga. And the big guru, I mean, this was the Light of Yoga Society was a small show, and Swami Muktananda was like Barnum and Bailey. He traveled the world. He had ashrams, hotel-sized ashrams all over the world, you see. Huge, huge, you see. And so I was involved full-heartedly, totally. Went to India, went to stay in his ashram. And he died in 1982. And when I left India, I think it was in 1981, we came to Blackstone. And the ferry boat dumped me out. And here I was in Blackstone, Virginia, and there were no yogis, and there were no gods, Hindu gods, and there were no gurus, and but I did have my teddy bear. So, so me and my teddy bear, which was my awakened heart, began my long journey in this yoga wasteland of Southside Virginia, which is exactly where I needed to be, you see. I didn't need to be on the ferry boat. I needed to be off the ferry boat. It's kind of like in Zen. Zen is about, if there's a blind man with a crutch, Zen kicks the crutch out from under him and turns him around and knocks him down. Knocks away everything. Takes away all the ferry boats. Takes away all the religions, all the doctrines, all the gurus, everything. Takes it away. So you can find your true nature that doesn't depend on anything. So you can find the aroused mind that doesn't rest on any form, that doesn't rest on any gods or theology or doctrine, no form at all. And that's the liberated mind that is creative, alive, and it's vital, and it's always interested because it's never trapped. It's never trapped in ideas or forms or anything. It's let it all go. All the crutches, kicked it away. All the wheelchairs, left all the ferry boats, one after another, you see. And that's basically it's not an easy journey, and not many people go all the way in one lifetime if you want to bring in, go into reincarnation, I don't know. But I do know that the other shore is basically the shore you're on. Because when you get to the other shore and you turn around and look, there was no other shore. You were standing right where you were all along. The beginning and the end is right where you're standing. The omega and the alpha and omega point is right here. This is number one. This moment right now is it. This is it. You can't do anything or know anything that'll make you any better than you are right now. And that's the discovery that you can only make when you try to find it. You have to try, you have to journey, you have to seek it in order to find that there's nothing to seek. But you can't jump over it. You got to go, you got to carry the cross. You got to walk through the thorns. You got to go through the valley of the shadow of death, you see, in order to realize that you are where you've always been. And you're okay. And this is it, and it can't be any better than it is right now. That doesn't mean that the world can't be happier and all that. It just means that you can't be better than you are right now. Even if you have cancer, this is it can't be any other. This moment is it. You see, it's the discriminating mind that comes in and says, "Oh, it could be better." So I imagine it could be better, but this is it. It can't be better than it. You can imagine it, but that's just your thoughts. That's just the discriminating mind. So when that discriminating mind loses its power over you, when that discriminating mind, it's still there because you need to catch a bus and you need to work and make stuff, but you're no longer dominated by it as the only view. See, that's the problem in the West. The only view available, as far as the West is concerned, is this discriminating mind, the objective view of the world, that everything is material, and it discriminates between good stuff and bad stuff. That was the apple that Adam and Eve bit. Mythology. The world is divided into good and bad. It could be better. It could be worse. It is worse. Could be better. So all of this, either or, this or that, all of that can end. It doesn't mean the discriminating mind ends. It just means it's not the dominant dictator. It's not the government. It's not the dictator, you see. The living mind is the heart that is unified, that sees unity. So everywhere you go, you are where you find yourself. There is no not self and self. There is no God and not God. Wherever you go, you're at home. There's no place to go that isn't home. So let's end with that, and I'll see you in the morning.